Out of nowhere on April 26th of 2022, the Kenshi team decided to release a community challenge with a very special reward. For 3 weeks, people across the globe could attempt to do the Kenshi Easter egg speedrun, with the top 10 winners receiving custom designed Kenshi t-shirts signed by Chris and Nat. Chris, who is an ex-toilet cleaner, or now the creator of Kenshi, and then his sister Nat, who is the writer for the game. These are some pretty cool rewards, so the race is on. But first, many people are wondering, what was the Kenshi Easter egg speedrun? Now, unless you randomly kept up with Kenshi during these 3 weeks and then read what the speedrun was, chances are you probably have no clue. I mean, how do you speedrun Kenshi in any way? On top of that, even the people that did read the rules, they were very confused, causing the team to have to add 2 separate clarifications for the rules and competition. It just couldn't be a Kenshi related event without some sort of jank. So here we are, the beginning of a journey. The Kenshi Easter egg speedrun has the goal of finding 3 different types of eggs and then selling them. So firstly, you're probably thinking, if you haven't played Kenshi, this should be pretty easy. You can grab a few eggs pretty easily. I mean, they put those everywhere in most games, right? Well, wrong. It had to be 3 different types of eggs, and you couldn't just buy them from a shopkeeper. Now, coincidentally, there's exactly 3 different types of eggs in the game. The first egg being the crab egg. Not so bad until you remember that the Kenshi crabs are human-sized nightmare creatures who will just pick apart your Kenshi character with their crab claws. Next, we got the beak things. They're exactly what they sound like, but they're the size of giraffes and one of the most dangerous things in Kenshi that can eat you alive. And lastly, it leads us to the islands in Kenshi, which inhabits the gurglers. No, it's not an island full of whores. It's an island full of these disgusting-looking creatures who will tear you limb from limb and basically just try to eat you. Well, yeah, so essentially whores. Combining these 3 eggs in a run was the first problem. Well, players had to figure out where exactly they had to go. You had to start as the rock bottom start, which puts you in the desert in the top north of the map. The most straightforward way to do the run would be to first go and grab crab eggs, which are a little bit south, and then within a minute or so you can grab the beak thing eggs, which are pretty close to the crab eggs. After that, you were required to run across the entire map to the south island, and then grab a gurgler egg, and with that you run to the nearest store and complete the run. But there were too many rules in place. This just made the runs all kind of confusing. To begin, the runners need to prove that they turned off all mods before each run, and that they also had an unmodified game by verifying the integrity of the game files. To add to this nonsense, the runners also were asked to not edit their speedruns, causing a lot of people after each run to have to close the game, wait 2 minutes for the files to verify, then launch the game again and begin a new run. This, of course, was very annoying, so on the 19th, clarifications were released stating that we could do multiple runs in one stream or video, just timestamp the good run. On top of this, they released more clarifications, like just a week later, showing what the game options need to be because it was just so confusing. But that means that you could edit any of the other settings, just you couldn't add mods. Now, getting into the actual run of the game, before each run starts, you need to create a character. At first, many people would opt for the skeleton character, as these characters are robotic, so they don't need to eat any food, and with playing as a human character, a big part of a run is getting food so that you can do the run. When your character's hunger is low, it lowers all of your stats, including athletics, and athletics makes you run faster in the game. That means it's basically crucial to have at least a little bit of food to maintain speed throughout the run, but picking the robot strategy was quickly beaten when people realized a new one. Running from the start into the first town, you can go into a shop and have a chance for it to spawn some items, which you can then steal and sell in order to get a new recruit. The reason why you want to do this is because both Scorchlanders and Hives can spawn for around 6,000 to 7,500 cats. They also begin the game with sandals most of the time, which is an important part of a run as it makes your character run 10% faster. As well as Scorchlanders and Hives having a 20% increase to athletics, making them pick up even more speed later in the run. The new recruits even start with a full hunger bar, plus some levels in athletics, making them crucial to getting a good time. It just saves you a lot of time compared to running with a new character, as these characters already have some stats in them, and you don't need to get any food for them once recruiting because their food is all the way maxed out. At the start, a lot of people on their runs would just run into the store and go nuts, stealing everything that they could, before being beaten up or killed, but players quickly discovered an exploit glitch which allows you to run into the store to load up on furniture and items, then run quickly outside and stay close to a wall, giving you about a 2-second window to snag anything in sight without being caught stealing. A big section of this part of a run is influenced by RNG though, as if you get bad item spawns, this will lead you to not having enough money to buy the recruit you need. Or even worse, you could end up having enough money, but the recruit you need just simply doesn't spawn or you can't find them. Now if things do end up going right, now you begin to run south out of the city and begin to find nests. This is where some parts of the run become a little bit more tricky. The first nest you have to find is a crab nest, and you can always of course have a chance of not finding these nests. Even if you do find a crab nest, there's going to be a bunch of crabs on it and it could be in a pretty inconvenient spot for you. Or you could get hit by one of the crabs, causing you to lose time or the run entirely, as you're only playing one character. And then the same tragedy can occur when you attempt to grab the beak thing eggs, as well as the gurgler eggs, making each run a test of skill, knowledge of a run, and how adaptable you are. Once you do grab the crab egg, you won't need to go too far, as the beak thing nests spawn right next to you in the blue waffle biome. Once finding your nest of beak things, you must grab the egg without being torn apart limb from limb, and then being able to run into Venge and into the south part of the map, all the way to a small island and obtain a gurgler egg. At this point, even though you have 2 of the 3 eggs you need to sell, there's still a lot of ways for the run to go wrong. For an example, in Venge, there are literal laser beams that shoot at random locations, just burning non-robotic characters. This can easily kill your character, damage you, end a run, or even just ruin one. On top of that, there's the random bandit factions or animals and predators you need to stay away from. And this run takes about like 5-6 minutes sometimes, so it's a pretty long run. Once you do get to the bottom of the map, you're gonna run across this long bridge and then find a nest of gurglers. You gotta go into the nest of gurglers, and if all goes well, you'll grab your egg and get out of there. Finally, with all 3 eggs, you can run a bit to the north to the nearest town and sell the 3 eggs, completing the run. The current fastest run at the end of the competition was held by someone named Asa, who has held the #1 spot for weeks now. When the event first started, the runs were typically between like 19 and 14 minutes, and it was really cool seeing it day to day get closer and all the way under 10 minutes. So in general, it was pretty interesting seeing the community figure out these different things and add them to their runs. The top 10 speedrunners will receive a signed t-shirt, but other than that, the speedrun still lives on through speedrun.com, where anyone can continue to attempt the speedrun, possibly even achieving a better score than 9 minutes and 55 seconds, or just doing it for fun. In all though, I think this was a pretty cool thing for Lo-Fi Games to do. I mean, Kenshi is a very single-player sandbox game. It's all driven by the player content and what you do in the game and the stories that you make unfold. And I'm not saying having a scenario like this in the game would make it better, but having this as an outside game scenario that they're asking you to do was pretty cool. It translated into a great speedrunning competition, and even with a few hiccups in the rules and clarifications, it was still a really interesting and fun event to participate in. I of course tried myself to get a top 10 run, but with having a job, child, and girlfriend with a fat ass, I just couldn't really find enough time to beat my 14-minute run, but the speedrun will always be open, so anybody can try to make new runs after this video or submit it to speedrun.com. Congratulations to everyone who speedran the game and then got the top 10 scores. Hopefully they do end up doing more events like this. Hopefully this video ended up explaining the speedrun to all of you in a pretty good way. If it did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, check out my merch store, the links below, all that other stuff. And with that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.